I'm Zion the Lion for Access NYC alongside Christina and my amazing photographer Kale, and we are taking a trip to one of the most iconic symbols in the United States of America and the New York metropolitan area, the Statue of Liberty. Just like many people mistakenly believe that Niagara Falls is in Buffalo, many people mistakenly think that the Statue of Liberty is on Ellis Island. That, however, was where the immigration center was to welcome people into the United States. The Statue of Liberty is actually on nearby Liberty Island. It was originally named Bedloe Island, but its name changed in the 1950s after a joint measure by Congress, and President Dwight Eisenhower renamed the island after its most famous occupant. In 1865, French historian Edward de Laboulaye conducted the idea of presenting the U.S. a gift for its upcoming 100 years of independence from Great Britain. At a cost of $200,000, CNN reports that the statue was paid for by French citizens, not the government of France. 20 years later, in 1865, the statue arrived in New York Harbor and its pedestal was completed a year later. It was later dedicated by President Grover Cleveland and designated a landmark decades later in 1924. The Statue of Liberty's iconic sea green color isn't what it originally looked like. It used to be copper brown, just like a penny. Its current patina appearance is actually the result of natural oxidation. It's a chemical reaction of metal and water. Having arrived brown in 1886, it's been fully green since its 20th anniversary in 1906. Take a look at the progress of the Statue of Liberty over its years of being built. From just ahead in August 1881, straight up to winter and spring in 1882. We see some of the base being built by summer 1882. By 1883, most if not all of the body was constructed. And by 1884, it's coming into the shape of what we have today, the Statue of Liberty. The statue's creators felt strongly that the project should be a joint effort and that the French people would donate the statue and Americans the pedestal. We are about to enter the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty. The statue's pedestal was designed by the American architect Richard Morris Hunt on commission from the American Committee of the Statue of Liberty. 2 years of work and numerous rejected proposals by both Hunt and Bartholdi preceded Hunt's final version of 1884. The 87-foot granite pedestal is an architectural monument in its own right, yet it exists in harmony with the Colossus above it, according to the Liberty Island Museum. Well, if we sound exhausted, that's because we are. We're headed up the steps of the Statue of Liberty. Now, we could have taken the elevator. Look at the sign, 67 steps left. We could have taken the elevator, but there was a long line, so we chose to punish ourselves instead. Now we're at the top of the pedestal. We cannot actually go into the body of the Statue of Liberty itself, but I want to show you something cool. Look up. That is the inside of the Statue of Liberty. You can see the spiral staircase going up through the spine of the statue, so to speak. And then you can see the various support structures that take it all the way up to the top. But we are here in the pedestal right now at the top. The cool breeze from the New York Harbor is making this 100+ step trip up to this level worth it. Look at that view. From the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty. amazing. As Kale pans up, we can see nods to a few old videos that we did right here on Access NYC. There you see the Edge observation deck in the distance there. One World Trade Observatory, one of my favorite videos. All the way out now, you can see Governor's Island. I'm being, so that's Governor's Island. Let me correct myself there. And then looking below us, this is Liberty Island. Ellis Island out in the distance there. I want to show you something cool. This is the cornerstone of the Statue of Liberty. It was laid on August 5th, 1884, and it was rededicated as the cornerstone of the American Museum of Immigration on October 28th, 1962. One of the amazing things that you can see when you come to Liberty Island is the Liberty Island Museum. That's separate from the little exhibits that you see in the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty. We've talked a lot about La Boulaye, but let's remember another name, Bartholdi. Zoom in on this picture here. Amongst one of the most enthusiastic supporters of La Boulaye's proposed monument was a young sculptor named Frederick Auguste Bartholdi. Driven by a passion for colossal works, Bartholdi transformed La Boulaye's idea of liberty into a reality. Many of the images, including the Colossus of Rhodes and the great monuments Bartholdi had seen in Egypt, inspired his design. In 1871, he traveled to the United States to promote the statue's construction and to find a dramatic site for it. Bartholdi entered New York Harbor and his spirit rose at his first sighting of the New World, Bedloe Island, later renamed Liberty Island. Situated in the middle of the harbor, it was a spectacular location for everyone arriving or departing on a ship. And here you can see all of the early designs for the Statue of Liberty. Well, we came and we conquered. I'm standing at the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty. Behind me is the Manhattan skyline and New Jersey. It's amazing to think that after 23 years of living in New York City, this is the first time that I and Kale have been to the Statue of Liberty. I'm Zion the Lion for Access NYC alongside Kale and Christina, and this has been our little summer excursion to one of the most iconic symbols, not just in the New York metropolitan area, but in the United States. Join us again for one of our next adventures.